today we'll be looking into thermometer chart. So this is how it's going to look like. As you can see, it's a it's like a thermometer, right? So we're going to do this chart in Tableau. So first, let's see what kind of data that we've used here. So yeah, it's a simple data. So we've got the names and the temperature, body temperature of them. All right. So we'll try to create this in the pick of the thermometer itself in Tableau. So yeah, so before directly jumping into the explaining how to do it in Tableau, let me explain you the methodology of creating this. So as you can see this, we've achieved this thermometer chart in Tableau using a path or a line for that matter. So what we did, as we are just having a single point for each person, so we would be required to densify the data. So we just took another Excel file or Excel sheet table with having 2 points in it, saying path 1 and 101. So it's just a kind of division of 100 points. Now what we'll do, we'll basically cross join the data that we have with the path, so that each person will be having 2 records saying 1 and 101 with the same temperature. Right now we can see we multiplied it by 2, so we are having 4 records. Now it is 8 records after we cross join the data set. Now, after doing that, what we did, obviously we'll be requiring more points to plot this chart, right? So we've used the path bin, and we've divided into 100 parts. As we are having like 1 to 101, we've used the bin size of 1, and that will give us the 100 points of the same person's temperature or data point. Now, as we've used the path bins, now when you bring in, it will obviously be having only 2 points, 1 and 101, right? But what we basically want to achieve all the missing points as well. So we'll just, after we bring in, we'll just say show missing values. That will basically create the axis from 1 to 101. But if you bring the temperature in, that will be still shows only points for 1 and 101. Let me quickly show that. Now if I bring this in, and if I bring in the temperature into this will still show at 1 and 101. Even if I do this will still show at 1 and 101. So what we want, we basically want to create a line using this for all these path bins. So what we'll do, we'll use a index function. Okay, so we'll use index function, and we'll just separate it by -1, so that this first one would be 0 and the last point would be 100. After creating this index function, what we want to have this particular value in all the points. So for that, we'll create a character that will saying TC value, and here we are having it as max of temperature. So what this max of temperature do? So it try to look for the max of the temperature column. So obviously for each person it would be the his temperature. So it's kind of aggregate the temperature data column. Then we'll use window max, which is a table calculation. This will basically bring us the value of the same temperature in all the path bins 2, 3, 4 and 5 and so on. So as this itself cannot bring it in, what we'll do, we'll create another calculator. We'll change TC thermometer, which is index times the value. So as we are having like index from 0 to 100, so that is in 100 divisions, we'll just divide it by 100 to maintain the scale itself. Then we'll basically bring that thing into the rows, and we'll just edit the calculated fields. So we've got nested calculated fields. One is index, another is TC value. We adjust both the calculated fields. That will result in a single line. The bar chart, the inside bar chart. The next one is we would be required to see the bubble at the bottom. So for that, we created a size, and we'll just say if index is 0, then we just have it 1 or else 0, and we'll bring this into size field, and I'll adjust the size of 0 index and the rest of the bar. that's how we achieve the red bar. Now, to achieve the background, we'll just duplicate the same TC size field. We created a maximum reading. Obviously, for thermometer, it's like it should be like 140. So we just took the value of 140, and the same calculation as TC thermometer, 140 times index by 100, and we'll just bring that into rows, and we'll dual axis it, and that's how we achieve the background gray. Now let's jump in creating the chart itself. Is there any doubts as of now? Maybe while explaining it, I'll connect the data set quickly. So connect to this one. I'll bring in data. Now we will be required to densify it, so we'll add a path and we join it by a join calculation. I'll say 1, and I will say 1 here as well. Now that basically multiplied the same data set with different points in the path. So it is, now this is our data. Now step number 1, we'll be required to create a path, right? So I'll click on it, path, create bins, and I want to have size of 1. I'll click OK. Now that we've got, now let me quickly create all the required calculated fields. So first I want index. So for that I will be using index function minus 1. That will give us the index from 0 to 100. Fine. Okay. Then we will be required to have the T thermometer value. So which is window max of our temperature. So if we do like that, obviously this window max should be, when we are using window max, it always expect a aggregated function. For that sake, we'll just use max of it. So we'll just aggregate it to max. Or max or minimum, it doesn't really matter, because anyway we are having the same point for that particular person. So we'll just max as of now, and then click apply. Okay. The next calculated field would be thermometer value. Thermometer, and here we are using index times TC value. So we'll just take it like this as of now. Apply. Okay. Now once we have okay, now let's quickly jump onto the creating visualization. So I'll bring this first. We'll change this as a line chart. We'll bring this path field in, and obviously showing all the missing values. Great. So we'll just add this as a path. Then we'll basically bring in the person's name, and we'll just basically drag TC thermometer in here. Okay, and then we'll change the calculations. So now if you see, we are having TC thermometer calculator field with two table calculations. One is index times TC value. So we can we can assign those two computing for those two particular table calculations from here itself using nested calculation. So first let's assign for index. So our index should be by specific dimension, and we'll use something like this. And this is a detail, and we want to restart it for every person. So we'll just say name, but our TC value, we would be required to have it at a path level. That's how we can achieve, right? So now if you see the index, we are having index from 1 to 101, right? And that is restarting at every person's name. So again, this index is starting from 1 to 101. This index is starting from 1 to 101. For TC value calculation, we would like to calculate along a path for each name. So we just set it up, so path, and we uncheck the name. Right. So we've achieved this bar, which is inside a reading thing. Now, what we basically require to do, we will require to achieve the bubble, right? So for that, we'll create a calculated field. It says TC underscore size, and we'll say if index our calculated field is equal to 0, then give me 1, else 0. Click apply, I'll click OK. Now I'll bring this into size, and we'll compute this along path, and we'll adjust the size. I'll just do it, adjust these sizes a bit. Yeah, now we achieved the inside reading one. Now what we want to get, we'll basically require to have the background as well, right? So for the background, we'll be required to have the reading of the scale till 140. So we'll just calculate a field. So right before that, if you observe now, if you see the TC thermometer calculations, it's going from 0 to 10,000, right? Why that is happening? If you see the TC thermometer calculated field, we are basically multiplying index time TC value. So index is going from 0 to 100. So that's why it's 100 times the TC value is what we are looking at here. But our actual rating would be this divided by 100, right? So we'll just do that. We'll click apply and click OK. Now if you see, this is like 101. Now it's in our absolute scale. So then we'll quickly create a calculated field for the maximum reading of the background thermometer. So we'll just say TC max, and this is the same calculation, index times 140. Let's assume that's the maximum reading that we want to have in a thermometer scale, divided by 100. Click apply, I'll click OK. Now we'll bring this in here, and we'll do the dual axis. So this one, this is line, right? Synchronize axis. Now for this one, you will be required to create another size bin. So we'll just say TC underscore size background. If index is equal to 0, then give me 1, else 0. Apply. Okay. Now we'll just replace that with here, and we'll compute it along this one. Path is here, wait, and plot. All right, we got to adjust these table calculations as well. So, yeah, we would like to compute this along path. Great. So if I save that, now we'll just adjust the size of the background as well. So this is the background size. We'll adjust the 0, which as well as 1, and apply. Okay, we'll change the colors, background color, and let's change the front color as well. Do a bit of formatting, we'll hide this out, go for entire view. Then we'll bring in the DC value to text, and we'll just show only at the line ends, that to the line start, and let's align it centered. Let's increase the size accordingly. Okay, so this is the one. So we'll increase the full size to 9. Okay, and we'll increase the background size as well. Okay. Now we'll just add a prefix saying F in the temperature. Some 0 decimal, maybe 1 decimal, with prefix F, sorry, and we'll just do a bit of formatting here. We'll remove the lines, 0 lines. change the access state. That's thermometer. Right now, yeah, this is how we can achieve the thermometer chart in Tableau. If you have any questions, I can